and it is an honor to work with them. So I feel happiness.
So Scaloni ending his press conference there by saying his soul hurts, and many fans back home in Buenos Aires are likely feeling similar pain, many in tears at full time in a fan park in Argentina. So, was this the night that the torch was passed on by one of the greatest the sport has ever seen? Because Argentina captain Lionel Messi, visibly emotional at full time, the 39-year-old unable to become a two-time champion, may have competed in his last ever World Cup. And his head coach, Lionel Scaloni, was fighting back the tears when discussing his own future with the national team before leaving the press conference completely overcome with emotion.
A formar un grupo como este, que difícilmente se vuelve a formar, y me duele el alma, lo siento.
And it was complete jubilation, of course, for Spanish fans as they watched the nation win the World Cup for the second time. These were the scenes at a fan park in Madrid with masses of people lining the streets into the early hours of the morning. And there were plenty of celebrations too in New York for those who weren't able to get into the stadium. A number of fans here, full of joy, gathered in Times Square.
Final where the best team certainly won, but the fact that we're talking as much about the vast array of celebrities who were in attendance tells you that this wasn't a classic. Oh, Donald Trump was here as well. To be honest, it was a very technical affair. The purists would have loved it, but it didn't have the excitement that the rest of this tournament has, and certainly not the same number of goals either. From Argentina, we again saw a lot of those dark arts that we saw in the semi-final against England. Gamesmanship has taken on a new meaning, I think, in this World Cup for those, and there was some incredibly lenient refereeing for them again as well, right up until the point where Enzo Fernandez was sent off, deservedly so, for a cartwheeling clatter on Pau Cubarsí. In terms of what Argentina offered going forward, very little. Their XG over 120 minutes was 0.09. So it felt like justice, I think you have to say, when Ferran Torres finally scored for Spain and beat Emi Martinez with the 20th attempt, the 20th shot that Spain had managed. Seeing Lionel Messi after the game in tears was very, very hard for any football fan to bear. He just couldn't conjure the fairy tale finale that he did 4 years ago, and you've got to give Spain an awful lot of credit for the way that they fenced in the GOAT. And what of that World Cup 27-minute half-time show, the first ever? Well, Madonna singing in a party car with Ronaldinho and the original Ronaldo driving up front was not a scene that I think any of us knew that we needed in our lives. But to speak about the real business, the World Cup final isn't always won by the team that have been best in the tournament. It was here. And so it's Spain who are now the reigning European and world champions. And guess who England have next in September at Wembley in the Nations League? It's the new world champions.
We're here with Jay Bothroyd and Dharmesh Sheth. Look, we're going to get to the halftime show in just a moment because we've got stuff to say about that. But look, it wasn't a classic. I admittedly fell asleep at 40 minutes, but it's hard getting up for an early shift when you're trying to keep on top of the football, OK? But that's, I guess, what would sum up the first half, sorry. Were Spain rightful winners of the tournament, though, Jay?
Yeah, Spain won, football won. I think they was the best overall team. They played as a team. Yeah. There was no, outstanding, what we call like a Messi kind of player, the X factor. I know that Yamal was built for that, but he had a pretty poor performance by his standards. But overall, I think it was the right team. They all worked for one another. The way they keep the ball off other teams, last night it's like Argentina might not as well have been there. They barely touched the ball. They barely got out their half, and I think that's mainly due to their philosophy. Spain almost look like a club team when they play football. They don't seem like a national team that get together. It's like when anyone goes on that pitch, everyone knows exactly what's expected of them, and they know their role within the team. There's no egos in that team. It's very clear to see, and we see these performances all the time now.
We've been talking throughout this tournament about Messi, about Mbappe, Haaland, Harry Kane, Jude Bellingham. With Spain, who are we talking about? Yes, you're talking about any individual in that Spain team, bar
maybe
like
Olmo.
We do.
Maybe Olmo at times, but there's no one where you look at and say he was unbelievable. He was the one that got Spain out of trouble. It was them as a group.
Victory for the collective.
Yeah, very much. And look, Dharmesh, based on how the tournament has gone so far, was it no great surprise the final turned out how it did?
Yes and no. I mean, I wasn't expecting it to go to that extreme where not even a shot on target, but they didn't even have a shot for the first 90 minutes. And it's only when Spain scored that they decided gosh, the penalties that we seem to have been playing for this whole 90, 120 minutes are not going to materialise unless we do something. I mean, those stats are absolutely astonishing. 2 shots and none on target in a World Cup final when you've got arguably the greatest player of all time in your team. But you can't get him the ball because these guys just don't give the ball away.
And even when they did, they suffocated Argentina. They pressed them so well that they end up just giving the ball back. They end up panicking.
Yeah.
And you having to kick the ball away, then they get the ball back, then they start probing again. And, you know, I love Messi, and I think we've been blessed that we've seen, you know, Messi play throughout his whole career. But there's no doubt about it. When you have a player that can't do the hard yards as well, you know, you're carrying a player. You're playing without, you know, someone on the pitch that's going to close down as well. So that's what you need. But again, like Dom said, it was just a really flat. I was surprised that Martinez didn't play, because I think if you put Martinez and Alvarez up front and then you put Messi in the hole, then you can go direct and you can start telling them to get hold of the ball, where it just seemed like you're not going to pass through Spain. They're so organised, they press so well, and even when they did, Rodri was always close to Messi, you know, and other players were as well. Cucurella, he's had a fantastic tournament too. So Spain were unbelievable.
Jay, we just heard from Lionel Scaloni that it's obviously clearly emotional, almost in tears, where he was in tears at the end. But it's his tactics, right?
Yeah.
Now, you've been a player. You've heard your manager say, right, we want to play in this way. Is there a situation where you're looking at them thinking, why are we doing this? Because Argentina will look around, they'll see all these players that they've got in their team that can create havoc, that can do damage, and yet they're being told, no, we're going to play this way, and we're just going to try and spoil the whole game.
Yeah, you know, the thing is in football, sometimes you play by a philosophy and you can get carried away with it in terms of you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, regardless if you're getting anywhere doing it. And we've seen that with lesser teams, you know, trying to play out from the back. And in my opinion, sometimes you just have to change it up on the fly. I seen Messi moaning yesterday, and that's the first time I've seen him moaning, you know, again, for his players. You're saying, come up the pitch. You know, even their manager was saying, come up the pitch. But it's not that easy when you've got Spain pressing you and you're telling your team to play out from the back. Maybe if you had another striker up there where you could play the ball to, you know, drop it in and then come up the pitch, maybe it would have been a bit different. Like we said, you know, managers make mistakes, players make mistakes, but everyone has to learn from it. And I think Scaloni in this moment, he probably will look back at this game and say, I got my tactics wrong.
Right, a lot more to come from that, but now for a Marmite event. Yes, love it or hate it, the inaugural World Cup halftime show provided both colour and controversy. A performance to rival the Super Bowl. The showing put on out in New Jersey ran to 27 minutes, right? 22 seconds. President of the United States, Donald Trump, was in attendance for the final, actually his first game of the whole tournament. Trump arrived aboard his helicopter Marine One. There he is, making an entrance, flying over the MetLife Stadium. And he watched on from a suite alongside Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney and Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum. Presented the winners, Spain, with the trophy. And in the Trump fashion, the US President made sure to linger when it came to the celebrations.
Both played well. I would say Spain played better, really. But they both played well. I mean, they got to the finals, and it was very exciting, actually. It looked like Spain dominated, but it was a very close match. So it was great. It was a great event.
So there we go, Donald Trump's take on the whole thing. I want your take on things, though. Halftime show, what did you reckon?
He told me he's going to get BTS's new album.
Who?
BTS's new album. You did say that, didn't you? No, I liked it. I have to say, I did like it. I felt it went on too long. 27 minutes, I feel like it's too long. If it had been 20 minutes, then, you know, 5 minutes for what they're normally used to, I don't think it was bad. I like Madonna's bit. Was Ronaldo actually driving that car? I'm not sure. It seemed like he was just sitting there. He looked a bit confused, but Ronaldo was beating his head, you know. So I don't mind it. I'm not sure if I would like to see it in the Champions League final, though.
No, I saw Rob Dorset earlier saying, you know, Madonna with Ronaldinho and Ronaldo, something we didn't need. I think we did. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the halftime show. I don't care what people say.
Yeah. No, I did as well.
BTS, the Muppets, Shakira,
Justin Bieber.
Something for everyone. And given how bad that game was, how bad was that game?
Yeah, it needed that show.
The only one that I would say, Justin Bieber, fantastic musician.
Yeah.
I think we could have had something a little bit more upbeat on his part, but I liked it. Yeah,
Baby. Yeah.
I just wanted to see a little bit more upbeat, like all the other acts.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you think, Hayley?
I was asleep.
You didn't see today?
No, I have seen it today, and I watched the highlights of it all as well. I didn't mind it, but again, a little bit. I was chatting over there with one of our team, Ria, and saying it's like because they were just given a couple of minutes, you didn't quite get into each of the acts. It was like, oh, it was over, then it was like another one, and then another one.
It was longer.
It was like watching a highlight show. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than like the Super Bowl, it's like a full halftime show. I'm not saying that's what we need in football. Of course, it's not. I like all the names. I'm a big fan of Shakira.
Do you know one thing I would say? I think Americans do it right in terms of when they put on these events, NFL, basketball, it's an event.
Yeah.
Whereas sometimes when we do it, it's just a game.
Yeah.
And I feel like to get the fans more involved, I think we should do more stuff like this. I'm not sure if, like I said, I'm not sure if we'll be doing it for all the biggest games in football, but I think this was nice. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was very American. They did what they wanted to do, and it really worked for them and kind of finished off the tournament in a very American way. But how did it impact the players, do you think, with that
Yeah, I was just going to
extended
ask
half-time?
Jay exactly that, because you've obviously been a professional footballer. 15 minutes is what you're used to. Can it have an impact on players maybe getting tight, getting injured? What do you think they would have done for the extra 12 minutes and 22 seconds?
Yeah, me personally, I wouldn't like that because, for me, when I got in the change room, whether you're winning or you're losing, you want to get back out there and get back on the front foot and start, obviously, trying to win the game. But I suspect that the players, definitely after 15 minutes, will be on a bike or something, turning their legs over, keeping it moving. It's not ideal. It isn't ideal. I mean, you see the way Argentina come out. They come out and they look really, flat. They almost conceded straight away. Yeah. And that shows you. But if this is going to happen, it's something that the players need to get used to. And if they knew that, maybe they was getting used to it, I don't know, before training or whatever, or, how do you combat it? You can't really, because it's the first time, right? Maybe you start a training session and then go in halfway through the training session, turn your legs over and come back. I don't know, but you can see that some of the players, it didn't suit them. Maybe the older players, the aging players, maybe